So we're back again for another preview show with myself, Charlie Hopper, and Matty Jones joins me as always, head coach of the First 15. Matty, a tough game last weekend. We talked about it post-match, but you'll be hoping that this weekend you'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be a tough game. We spoke about it obviously last week. We probably didn't get our kind of preparations right as much as probably what we'd hoped. And unfortunately, it probably paid a little bit of an effect on the game, but it's so hard to try and get those kind of preparations when you're leaving kind of 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And guys are kind of not really kind of used to it. A few of the lads were cramping up in like the second half of the game, and so little kind of small things like that. But not take anything away from Morpeth. Morpeth were class. They kind of held us in that first half when we had the wind, and they kind of used the breeze in the second half and made it difficult to get out of our own half. So we need to be a little bit more smarter this week. But playing top of the table, Ilkley, there's no better resource to kind of bounce back from as to try and topple one of the top teams.
Yeah, and midway through the first half, you of course lost Billy Parker to an injury. Have you got an update on how Billy is? Is there a time frame that you think we're going to be without him for?
Yeah, so Billy's fractured his wrist. So he is in cast for 6 weeks, and looks like he won't be back until probably about February, we think. All being well and everything kind of heals well. Unfortunately, it's a huge loss for us because Billy's that kind of huge kind of go forward for us. But the way that we're kind of building this year is we've got a lot of guys kind of stepping up, and it's another chance for someone else to kind of take the spot and kind of make it their own.
Yeah, definitely. Well, apart from Billy and aside from him, you've obviously already had a training session with the squad. How has everyone else come out of it? Are there any niggles that were picked up, or have the lads come through the game pretty well?
Yeah, Will Lee is struggling again with his knee. I think he's going to take a bit of extended time off to try and get that right. But everyone else obviously is getting through kind of bumps and niggles, but everyone's kind of good to go. Aaron Thompson, I see, is back this week from being abroad, so it'll be great to kind of get him back in the mix. So it looks really good, and we had a really good session last night. Numbers were a little bit low, but the quality that the lads kind of and the effort that the lads put in is probably one of our better sessions that we've had for probably the last kind of month or so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, looking forward to Saturday, Matty. Of course, you welcome Ilkley, who are sat in third position. 10 games in, 7 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. And the second loss that they got was, of course, on Saturday, where they were beaten at home by Pocklington. So they are there for the taking this weekend, aren't they? And it's all about bouncing back and getting points on the board still.
Yeah, every team is there for the taking. It's all depends on how you kind of show up on the day. And as we said, like, we're going to prepare as well as what we can this week. And we'll have nothing to lose going into kind of Saturday. So we need to make sure that we're kind of trying to make Scarborough a fortress, and we want to try and make it hard for opposition and teams to kind of come in and take points at our kind of home spot. So the lads will be up for it this week, and hopefully we can get the result and our performance that the guys are going to be proud of.
Yeah, and I'll read the team that you've picked obviously out in just a minute. Obviously Ewan picked up a red card the last time we were at home, Matty. Have you got any news to give me on Ewan? Are we still looking at the 3 weeks that the club have set, or is there any opportunity to get that red overturned?
It was hard to say, mate, to be fair. The judicial are meeting tonight, and they're discussing Ewan's fate. So we haven't picked him this week. We're just waiting on a couple of little injuries. Obviously, Will Leo, again, we were kind of waiting on to kind of speak to him. So that's why we're kind of just waiting on that extra kind of player. So unfortunately, we probably will be without Ewan again because his kind of at the lowest was 2 weeks. So, but we'll see what the guys said when we put all the documents and the videos together tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, looking through the team, obviously Joe Ellis, Jordan Holloway, Sam Dawson, Luke Brown, Will Renard, Aaron Thompson. Aaron Thompson obviously returns. Ed Hopper comes in, Drew Govier at 8, Carlos Roberts, Tom Ratcliffe, Harry Dommett's back, Aaron Wilson's in the centre, Tom Makin returns, James Long, and then Joe Davies, Tom Reed, Alex Rowley, and we're just waiting on a third sub to be confirmed, which will probably be done before Saturday. A couple of good names in there. I mean, John Ellis hasn't naturally featured a lot for you starting. He's now featured quite heavily in the side. He seems to have come on leaps and bounds. Jordan Holloway as well. I thought he had a great game on Saturday. And Joe Davies coming in for his debut, Matty. So, you know, the rotation of the side is good because players have got an opportunity to make the shirt their own.
Yeah, that's what we said. Like, we're really building a squad this year. We're not kind of heavily relying on those kind of like 15 to 18 people week in, week out. I think at the moment now we're around about kind of 30 lads who have got kind of like first team kind of experience this year, which is fantastic for us as a club. We know that the guys are building towards it, and the guys that do get the opportunity are hungry to play kind of each week. So obviously Joe Nellis has been playing great the last kind of couple of weeks. He's really kind of shored up our scrum. He's been doing quite a bit of work away from kind of trainings, and it's been kind of showing on the field. Which is obviously it's a great asset to have if we can kind of shore up that scrum and unleash our backs. And Hollers is a huge kind of one in that as well. So obviously just kind of stepping up into hooker for the first time kind of properly this year has been a revelation to kind of have him back and kind of like playing week in, week out. And Joe gets his first kind of taste of first team rugby in his first start. So we're really excited. He obviously was pretty close to kind of playing a month or two ago. Unfortunately, through an injury of a broken hand, he had to kind of we had to waylay that, but he's come back stronger and fitter than before, and we're excited to kind of see what he's got to offer our backline.
Definitely, and Matty, just obviously last week we had Limo who played first team, we had Lewis Ward who played Tom Anderson. Now they're obviously playing in the Vikings this week. How big is it, do you feel, for the other Vikings players who haven't had first team experience to sort of look at Limo, look at Lewis, look at Tom Anderson and see that they've hit the level of first team occasionally, that they can sort of up their game to the levels that Limo will set as a president throughout the game?
Yes, but that's it. The guys will go back and kind of run our kind of plays and our setups and become kind of leaders within that kind of seconds and Vikings. And it shows to those kind of other Vikings guys there that if they want to kind of play some first team rugby, they got to show up to kind of training and put the effort in. And guys are being rewarded for the effort that they're kind of putting in, not obviously on a Saturday, but also the efforts that they're putting in on a Tuesday and a Thursday at training. We spoke about Joe Nelly, kind of like those guys doing extras outside of kind of training as well. So first team spots are there for the taking at the moment, and the more the guys are kind of putting in and the effort that is going, the more that we're rewarding kind of guys in those kind of circumstances. So it's a revelation to have all those kind of guys really kind of pushing themselves to try and kind of get into that first team kind of squad and set up this year. And then that makes our second team stronger. They've got a tough game, obviously away to Driftfield. I think they've had a couple of weeks off, so it'd be good for those kind of guys to get out onto the field and have a good hit out and hopefully come away with a win.
And just finally, Matty, on the crowd that we'd expect, I mean, I'm sure Ilkley will bring quite a good faithful of fans who will come. It'll be a while since Ilkley have last been to Silveroyd. I'm not sure exactly when the last time they were at Silveroyd, so they're looking forward to it, I'm sure. You'll be hoping for a bumper crowd as always, and a lot of support for the lads. Yeah,
Ilkley's always been a great set of lads. I think it's definitely been probably 10 to 12 years since probably the last time I've kind of played them. So that'll be probably around about the same kind of time that the club have kind of played. They've been kind of high flying in the leagues above. So it's going to be great to have them back down to our kind of level. And as I said, like, I think everyone kind of enjoys those kind of games. They're looking to probably bounce back up after kind of coming back down into our league, and they've got some quality players and play a really kind of same brand of rugby as us. It's a very entertaining kind of brand of rugby. They like to kind of counter and like to play with a bit of width. So it should be a really good kind of like ding-dong match, and as I said, we're really looking forward to kind of putting on a show, and hopefully we get a few people up at the club to support us and get us over the line.
And there's not that many games, is there, up until the the end of the new year. I think it's obviously after next week we're away and then home and then away. So there's not that many games for everyone to get up and support, especially with Christmas coming up. So every supporter that comes through the door is massive for you and your side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, obviously it's only gonna get tougher. We've got kind of a huge kind of 3-4 games leading up till Christmas. It's really going to show whereabouts we're going to at. We've kind of had a bit of a slump, but then we kind of came through it, and we need to make sure we finish the year strong. So then we're not kind of going off like kind of back-to-back kind of losses. And like we're up against kind of the top kind of teams. I think we've got Cleck, Moortown, Ilkley, and then Heath. So all kind of like top 5, top 6 kind of teams. We need to make sure that we're on our song week in, week out, and we need to make sure that we're kind of performing. And the way that we do perform is we perform in front of our kind of friends and families at home. So hoping for another kind of good crowd, and it should be great. Santa should come out, I think, the next home game as well. So that'll be good for all the kids too.